Good evening, everybody. I would like to call this regular meeting of Arnprior Town Council to order. Tonight we are Monday, September the 22nd, and it's 6:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councillor Cooper,
Here.
Councillor Toner,
Here.
Councillor Burnett,
Here.
Councillor Cloutier, Councillor Strike,
Here.
County Councillor Lynch, and Mayor McGee.
Here. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we are gathering is the traditional unceded territory of the Anishinaabe people. This Algonquin nation have lived on this land for thousands of years, long before the arrival of the European settlers, and we are grateful to be present in this territory. Could we do the adoption of the agenda, please?
Be resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council dated Monday, September 22nd, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. County Councillor Lynch, Councillor Cooper, all in favor? Thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest tonight? Seeing none. No questions from previous council? Nobody here? No. Could we do the adoption of minutes of previous meetings, please?
That the minutes of the regular meeting of council listed under item 7A on the agenda be adopted.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Burnett, Councillor Strike, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, moving straight along to awards, delegations, presentations. We do have a delegation. We have got Electra Solutions here to present on the solar project at Arnprior Airport. Welcome, Mr. White. You can introduce everybody. And
Hello. It's on, okay. Good evening, everybody. Yes, my name is Kevin White. I'm with Electra Energy Solutions. I'm joined this evening by José Rochon with the Algonquins of Ontario, as well as colleagues Ariel Bautista and Karina Cito from Kruger Energy. We're here this evening to talk about a proposed solar project at the Arnprior Airport that we are looking to put forward into the upcoming IESO's competitive RFP. But first we'll talk about who we are, who Electra and Kruger are, Ontario's energy needs, so why we are here this evening, how the IESO is dealing with Ontario's energy needs, our proposed projects, some frequently asked questions, and the road ahead, next steps. So first off, who Electra is. Electra Inc. is a municipally owned energy company based out of the Greater Golden Horseshoe. We are underneath Electra Inc. is Electra Utilities, so a large utility company serving, you can see the highlighted cities there in the Greater Golden Horseshoe. The larger of those cities are our shareholders, so Mississauga, Markham, Hamilton, Vaughan, the list goes on. We are the competitive side, so Electra Energy Solutions being the sister company to Electra Utilities. We are the commercial side of the company. We offer tailored energy solutions to governments, to companies, to institutions that normally utilities could not provide. So this could be anything from rooftop solar, behind-the-meter battery systems, EV chargers, sub-metering, the whole gamut. We also competes in the IESO's LT procurements. So these are the long-term energy procurements that we see in front of us. And in a previous round, we were awarded 3 battery projects. So 1 in Guelph and 2 in Vaughan, and those are under construction right now. A little bit about Kruger Energy. So Kruger itself is about a 120-year-old paper company based out of Montreal, privately owned. One of the offshoots of that company is Kruger Energy. They do a lot of renewable energy across North America, so wind, hydro, solar. They got about 650 megawatts on the grid right now across their portfolio. And you can see some of the locations here. So why we're here this evening. So Ontario needs a lot of new power over the next 25 years. As a sister company to a utility, we see this firsthand. It says 75% increase in energy demand. What that actually means is we need to double, if not triple, our capacity over the next 25 years. This is largely being driven by just general population growth, new companies moving to the province, the adoption of electric vehicles, people putting heat pumps on their homes, a lot of data centers, things of that nature. It all culminates into growing need over the next 25 years. And we're going to be starting to see some of these shortfalls in the near future, the next few years. In fact, back in August, mid-August, if everybody remembers that heat wave we had for about a week or two, we actually had to import power to the province, which is something we normally don't have to do because we're starting to see some of those shortfalls in our system. So how the ISO, which is the Independent Electricity System Operator, provincial arm, is dealing with this is they are, one, they balance the power across the province, but two, they also forecast and procure new energy to meet the province's needs over the next number of decades to make sure that the province can be self-sustaining and we don't have rolling brownouts or anything of that nature. So how they are doing this is through a number of competitive procurements. Right now we're in LT2, and despite the number, it's actually the third round. So there's ELT1, LT1, and now LT2. LT2 is focusing heavily on energy generation, whereas previous rounds were energy storage. So they are procuring about 7,500 megawatts of new power over the next 4 years through 4 windows on LT2. And we are looking to put forward a project into that, that being at the Arnprior Airport. So we would be leasing land from the airport. We have an option to lease in place with the airport. You can see those 3 highlighted areas there on the southern portion. We're looking to put a 10 megawatt solar project forward. This would take about 40 to 50 acres of land. And once we go through site plan approval and whatnot, we'd better configure where the solar would actually go. But we're heavily focusing on the eastern side of those 3 portions because where we actually need to connect into is along that highlighted road there, Concession Road 12, I believe it is, in order to connect into the grid. So the shortest possible distance is best. We're trying to heavily focus on the left-hand side. Now, once we actually, if we are awarded the project, we go through the entire planning approval process to make sure it's, we're adhering to all environmental attributes and setbacks and whatnot. We've been working with NavCan and Transport Canada to make sure we better understand their processes. We've done a glint and glare study that we've submitted to NavCan and are waiting feedback on. All of this would be taken into consideration in actually building out the project itself. So where are we actually in the process? So this is step 1 of 1,000. What we are proposing to do is submit this into the competitive RFP, and in order to actually do that, we need a municipal support resolution, which is it's not an approval. It is an understanding in principle that we are looking to put this forward, and you're in agreement that we can put this forward into this competitive RFP. We then have to actually compete in the RFP. But then if we are actually awarded the project, we have to go through the entire planning approval process in order to actually build it out. So this is anything from the utility side being, ISO deliverability testing, Hydro One connection approvals, OEB registration and licensing, all the municipal approvals. So that's anything from an official plan check to zoning check to site plan approvals to actual permitting. We need to go through all of that. We need to do renewable energy approvals through the province, which is a very prescribed process in which we have to consult with the municipality, the community, and First Nations groups. All the environmental approvals as well. And then, of course, the final step would be the Electrical Safety Authority approval to actually bring the project online. So the process is a little bit backwards. We're proposing a project that we submit into the RFP, and then if we are awarded, we still have to go through every planning step to actually implement it. And the project has to be online by 2030. So we're on a tight timeline to actually do all that. So we'd be working closely with the municipality to ensure that we can move things forward as quickly as possible. Now, on the community side of things, I'd actually pass it over to Jose for a minute, because one thing that we do with all of the projects that we put forward is we have First Nations partnership in this. So not just this project, but every project we're putting forward across the province has 50% First Nations ownership in the projects. And I'd like to pass over to Jose to say a few words.
Thank you. So good evening, Mayor, members of Council. So my name is Jose Rochon. I'm here on behalf of the Algonquins of Ontario. I'm also here because I am a member of the town of Arnprior. We also have a business owned that we operate out of Arnprior, Capital Asphalt and Interlocking. We've been here since 1995. So I want to express a strong support for the proposed solar generation project at the Arnprior Aerospace. This project, which is led by Electrus Energy Solutions and Kruger Energy in partnership with Algonquins of Ontario, is more than just an energy project. It represents a long-term partnership that supports reconciliation and aligns with our generational success. At the Algonquins of Ontario, we continue to work. We're working for the next 7 generations, just not our current generation. It is an important opportunity to advance clean energy while ensuring meaningful Indigenous partnership, long-term revenue sharing, and community benefits. It represents not only an investment in sustainability, but also in reconciliation and collaboration between municipalities, First Nations, and the private sector. On behalf of the Algonquins of Ontario, I respectfully encourage Council to support this project through a municipal support resolution. Together, we can help move Arnprior forward in a spirit of alignment, reconciliation, and generational success. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you. So as a municipally owned company ourselves, we take municipal, community, First Nations engagement very seriously, and we do this through a number of different things. One, through meaningful equity partnership with First Nations, but beyond that, we also provide a community benefit to the local municipality who's hosting this project. So $2,000 per megawatt awarded, indexed at 2% per year for the duration of the contract, which is a 20-year contract with the IESO. Beyond that, we always look to try and hire local whenever and wherever possible. For the site prep work, the ongoing maintenance work, this is a long-term project that we're looking to implement. And of course, we will be ingrained in the community for the long term. We will be the long-term partners on this. We don't flip projects. Electra and Kruger have never sold projects. We will be the long-term partners here, so you will always know who to turn to. So some of the frequently asked questions, real quick. How do we actually, source a site? Well, biggest thing is, can the local substation actually host a site? If the local substation cannot host any more power, we can't put a site there. Solar cannot be put on within prime agricultural areas as per a provincial directive. So airports have been quite good because they're usually zoned appropriately for things like this, and they're very flat as well. And the biggest question we usually get is the visual impact. So what we do through site plan control and normally is we secure the site through fencing and put shrubbery and whatnot around there to ensure that there's not a significant visual impact. But looking at where we're looking to site it anyways on the eastern side, we're pretty confident that all of that can be done. Beyond that, I just want to point out the timeline ahead of us. So the RFP for this was released in June. We've been doing community engagements and speaking with the municipality and First Nations engagements throughout the summer. The RFP is due October 16th, so it's very short timeline from now, only a few weeks away. We still need to go through our internal approval processes as well, so municipal support tonight would be very helpful. Awards are expected to be announced in April of 2026. And then we go through the approvals and permitting process, a year or so after that, and start construction 2027 most likely. Hopefully, get it online by 2028. So I just want to iterate that a municipal support resolution is not an approval of this project. It is just allowing us to enter into the competitive RFP itself. Like I said, we are on step 1 of 1,000. We're hoping that we can get past step 1 this evening and actually submit this into the RFP. So with that, we thank you very much for listening and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Mr. Waite?
All good news.
Now, we have a few things we need to discuss before we can actually grant the MSR. We've had discussions about this in the past. So what I'm going to propose is that we have a closed session to talk about those issues simply because they are closed session items. Kayla, could you walk us through what that would look like?
The question is, do you want to do that when the resolution comes forward?
Would you like to do that when the resolution comes forward later on in the meeting, or would you like to move that forward now?
What would make them, well, I guess when the resolution comes forward is when we can bump that into, okay.
Okay, yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for your presence. So no questions for the proponent? No, okay. Thank you very much. We're waiting on me here. Okay, next up, we've got a presentation, Fire Department Community Partners, and we've got, the Chief is here. Got quiet in here all of a sudden. Thank you, Chris. This is great.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We're here to recognize some community partners that have assisted the department this year with our fire prevention education. Community Safety Net is a revolutionary safety awareness and education initiative that creates a network of concerned individuals who want to protect children and help save lives. It's been embraced by thousands of communities in the United States and Canada, forming an extensive safety net that stretches across the continent, but real magic comes from the ability of their resources to increase awareness while bringing communities together for the benefit of the children. Parents, community leaders, local businesses, and schools all play a key part in the process, and it works. The Community Safety Net has already saved lives and expands across the world. We know it will save many, many more. Stats Canada finds that there are over 50 home fire incidents each day across the country, yet education leads to prevention, and these interactive resources give our children and parents tools to prevent fires and escape safety in case of a fire. The Arnprior Fire Department, in partnership with Community Safety Net, will be distributing Fire Safety Smart Choices for Life family books and videos to educate and protect our children. During Fire Prevention Week, as part of our school visits and fire education program, these books will be distributed to all grade 3 students attending our local elementary schools in both English and French. We wish to extend a sincere thank you to everyone in our community who has helped make this important safety initiative possible. Many local partners in safety have provided generous support, and we are pleased to recognize their commitment to the safety of our community through public fire safety education initiatives. So we'd like to thank Mark's No Frills, the Arnprior Lions Club Education Foundation, Arnprior Rona, Knights in Arnprior, Ramada in Arnprior, Arnprior Home Hardware, Clancy's Drug Store, R&M Truck and Trailer Repairs, Arnprior Incorporated, Anderson Automotive, Arnprior Metro, Valley Vision, Arnprior Legion Branch 174, Competitive Composites Incorporated, and Scotiabank Arnprior. And I would also like to thank Captain Chris Crowder for his involvement in organizing the program with CommunitySafety.net. And I invite members of council and the community to attend our open house this Sunday from 10 till 1. We're kicking off our smoke alarm program initiatives and leading into Fire Prevention Week. So I have, Chris has distributed a copy of the book. There's 2 books, one of 2 that will be distributed. And if I could get council to come forward for a picture for this important event, I appreciate it.
With our books?
Bring your books, yeah. But you have to give them back because unless you're going back to grade 3.
Okay. All right, thanks, Chief. We have no public meetings. What we do have, though, is our notice of motion, and I will turn to County Councillor Lynch to introduce his motion.
Would you like me to read the motion?
Or I will turn to our clerk to read the motion.
No problem. Whereas County Council Lynch has recently been contacted by a member of the public regarding the installation of a veterans crosswalk to honor those who fought for our rights and freedoms, as well as those who continue to keep peace around the globe. And whereas crosswalks continue to be identified as affordable and highly visible ways to make important societal statements, and veterans crosswalks have entered the domain, and that the council direct staff to install a veterans crosswalk and explanatory signage on John Street North and Ewan Street that leads to the town of Arnprior cenotaph.
Thank you, Kayla. So we have our mover as the introducer. Do you have a seconder, County Councillor Lynch?
Yes.
Okay.
Councillor Burnett.
Okay, Councillor Burnett. Okay. Did you want to introduce your motion?
So thank you, Mayor. For information tonight, tonight's motion deals with veterans. It's somewhat appropriate as it's Veterans Week being celebrated across Canada. The town bylaws includes recognizing veterans by naming of streets, parks, and benches after them. Regretfully, we are running out of streets and parks. I'd ask Kayla to punch up the current crosswalk. This crosswalk is on John Street at Ewan, and as you can see, it goes from east to west, and just behind the little poppies is the current cenotaph. The second part, we'll ask to punch up the sign that we hope to be approved. This is the proposed sign that will be located on the crosswalk, will face east and west so as not to distract the traffic. We've had the sign inspected by our General Manager of Public Works, and there's no issues with that. This crosswalk is already, not this one, but the crosswalk you've previously seen is already in place, so there's no cost to maintaining the present day sidewalk. To make it into a veteran sidewalk, we're proposing that the red stripes be put in. The cost to maintain this crosswalk is minimal. The crosswalk itself is already budgeted for. The extra cost would be for the red paint. Of note, 5 gallons of red provincial highway paint is a whopping $150. Plus labor, which I don't know. So in my opinion, the names of the veterans on the cenotaph who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, as well as many of the veterans past and present who have served or still serving, today have more than covered the cost of keeping their memory alive. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, County Councillor Lynch. Before debate, John, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Would you mind just coming in and from a Public Works point of view, talking about cost, design? I struggle with the idea of $150 and just putting some paint down.
From my perspective, we don't have a firm estimate or quote in hand at this moment from any contractor, but yeah, we don't anticipate it, as County Councillor Lynch indicated. There are some modifications we're looking to do to this particular crosswalk. It was one that was noted in our upcoming transportation master plan for some improvements, some line painting, slight changes, kind of like our PXOs that we see in town with the sort of diamond or the triangular shark teeth and whatnot. So we need to do a few modifications to the line painting as it is. So I guess the ask right now is to incorporate the red paint in between the white sort of piano key lines. So I wouldn't anticipate that that's going to cost any more than $500 or something to incorporate that into the work that already needs to be done. So I mean, from our perspective as an operational cost, it's fairly minimal in the grand scheme. But I guess that's kind of the discussion on the floor as to whether or not the town's funding it, I guess. But I don't see any major concerns with implementing it. The signage is acceptable. We just didn't want to have it so it's facing traffic, because it becomes a bit of a distraction for motorists to be trying to read it. It's not for motorists to read, it's more for
pedestrians to read as they walk by, just for information. So as long as they're oriented sort of perpendicular to the driving lanes, then I don't see any concerns with that either.
Okay, and would Public Works contribute to the design or have a say in the design or the labor of, would that look like? In terms of who would be laying it down and who would be doing no, not for the sign, for the crosswalk, for the,
It's just a regular crosswalk. There's no provincial standard crosswalk, white on the outside.
no, in terms of who's gonna do the work for that crosswalk, the paint on the,
Town. The town contractor or?
Correct. Yeah, it wouldn't be town forces, and wouldn't be actual town staff doing the painting. Typically, we do contract that out annually as part of our town-wide line painting contract. So we'd look to incorporate that into that tender if we were directed to incorporate it. And my understanding is that the design is really just to incorporate the red color in between the white kind of piano keys. So I know there's a few variations out there with poppies and more stencil work, but I think the ask this evening is just kind of those red rectangles in between the white rectangles. So fairly straightforward as far as layout design goes.
okay, thank you, John. And I do have a question for the mover. Now, has the design and the concept been approved by, and please forgive my ignorance on this, either the Legion or the body that would oversee?
There is no overbody. It's strictly a veteran or you're not a veteran, and the veterans are on the cenotaph. The Legions has no involvement whatsoever.
Okay. That answers my questions. I'll open the floor for debate, and then I'll share my own comments when we're done. Councillor Toner?
Thank you. I'm in favor of proceeding with the crosswalk. If there are some community groups or some individuals who wish to put a donation towards the cost of this, is that something that the town would be receptive to? And is that something that can be like easily implemented?
Definitely, if we could organize, if someone would like to provide a donation to the town and have it go directly toward something like that, we can definitely arrange for, to make that happen.
Well, then that certainly helps. I was in favor of it anyways. I think the veterans, they come from all walks of life, all nationalities, male, female, all types of communities. So I think it's a nice to pay like homage and to their sacrifice, both in the past and the people that are serving now, and unfortunately, hopefully not, but I'm sure there'll be more lost veterans moving forward. So anyway, I'm in favor of this.
Thank you, Councillor Toner. Councillor Burnett?
I'm certainly in favor of it, and I think that the town should step forward and pay the $500, and if there are donations, then it could go towards it or for something else. We spend money in a lot of ways, and I think this is one way that we show our thanks and appreciation for what has taken past and looking forward in the future. Thank you.
Councillor Strike?
Thank you, Mayor. Based on what I've heard, before what I heard here tonight, I was in favor of this. What's been brought to the surface here is a very good program, and I shouldn't see any problems with it, so I am in favor of it.
Councillor Cooper?
First, I just want to thank County Councilor Lynch for bringing this forward. It is a commendable project. It does speak to how we have to honor our veterans, and great project. My one concern is just the community aspect of it, one big part of putting commemorative crosswalks and such in place is having the community involvement in it. I've seen other communities in the area, Petawawa and such, that have put these crosswalks in place, and they're great, but they also have the community partners that are attached to it. I like the community aspect because you get the buy-in for it. I did talk to County Councillor Lynch about, I almost think it's like buying a present at work for someone. If everyone chips in on the present for someone, it's a community effort. It's a collaborative effort with everyone. If someone buys that on behalf of everyone, it's not the same. I'd love to see the community get in there, and I'd love to see County Councillor Lynch stand there with service clubs, with different people the businesses that have put their financial and their name on this to make it a community effort to give our veterans the respect that they deserve. I really would like to quantify or qualify that dollar amount, just because I've seen them go up, and I know basic paint is very inexpensive. I just want to make sure that our costs are covered as far as not just town staff, the design process and everything. We all know that the devil is in the details with a lot of these projects, and if you get into, it has to be a specialty paint because you're within 100 meters of a hospital, the price could go up considerably on it. So I just want to do just a little bit of due diligence. I am in favor of the project. I think it's excellent. The location of it's fantastic, right by the cenotaph, and it'll get people talking about it. My preference would just be just not to rush it through. I want to make sure we do this right and see if we can get community partners behind. Jennifer has said that definitely fundraising and having donations to the town is something we can do. Let's just get this right. It's too important a project to have us not make sure all the T's are dotted or T's or cross I's are dotted. I'd really like to see us get this right, because this isn't going to just be a crosswalk that we're content having fade over time. This is something that if we have to go out there and paint it 5 times a year to make sure it's crystal clear, that it's vibrant, we're going to need to do that. A crosswalk, a normal one, can fade over time and it's an acceptable standard. It's not an acceptable standard when it's something that's paying homage to our veterans. So I'd just like to see a little more background work done on it, not rush through it and do that background before we commit to doing it fully. But hats off to you, County Councillor Lynch, for bringing this forward.
County Councillor Lynch, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm against asking the general public and the businesses to support this. The reason being, you're a veteran or you're not a veteran. The veterans on the cenotaph have passed. There's other veterans going to pass in the near future, as Councillor Toner has mentioned. So when you see the cenotaph, you think of the guy that's passed, not the individuals or the companies or whoever that have donated money for the crosswalk. The crosswalk has been paid by the guys on the cenotaph or the guys who are going to die in the near future. So you'll think of them, not of the guy that gave $15 or $100 for the paint. Thank you.
Councillor Cooper.
And if I can just respond quickly to that, by the same token, I don't want this to be something that the town can take full credit for either. I guess that's my hesitation. I totally see the point in not wanting someone to glorify putting their support behind it, but I just don't want the town to take 100% credit for it too, because I think this is an important community project. So I think we're all speaking the same language. We all want this project to go forward. Just how we get from point A to point B, that remains to be seen.
Last comment. Thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Madam Mayor. We recognize veterans by street signs and by parks and by benches, but it's a select few through a process. There's lots of veterans in Arnprior that are not going to be recognized through a park or a bench or a street sign, and that's a town thing. This is a town crosswalk in support of our veterans. So it's a town thing that I'm proud to say that we did as a town. We will be recognized as the people that are recognized veterans via crosswalk, signs, benches, parks. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So I too would like to thank you very much for bringing this forward. We have heard from a number of different community members through social media, or as recently as yesterday, I attended the Veterans dinner, and a woman came up and said, hey, when is this going to happen? And we had a great conversation. I think I've heard tonight, every one of us wants to honor our veterans and the contributions that have been made to our country and our community. And we all deeply respect that. And I understand this is something that all of us do want to see move forward. So we're aligned absolutely there. At the same time, I have a concern about precedent. Our current practice so far has been that groups fundraise for crosswalk projects, and we have applied that in the past. If we do make an exception here, we need to be prepared for similar requests from other groups, and that could also create challenges for fairness and for the budget. I'd like us to explore ways that we can support this project while also maintain consistency and fairness across all community groups. I do feel that by working together, we can come up with that solution. Nobody here would dispute that our veterans hold a place of honor in the community. As a council, we need to make decisions that are consistent and sustainable. Once we open the door to municipal funding of one group, we have to be ready to apply that same standard to all others, and that's where the difficulty lies. I would like to suggest that we do look at options and keep our policy, or maybe even look at developing a policy, but keep our precedent consistent. And that way we can properly recognize veterans, but also protect council from being in a position where we're forced to explain why one group is treated differently than another. And even with the decision that's made tonight, I would like to ask staff if maybe we could start to look at developing a policy on this, because you know, I've also had people come and request something in honor of Truth and Reconciliation. There's been a couple, and so having an actual policy could help us, you know, in future. So I'm entirely in support of this. I'm not in support of public dollars paying for it, just because of the precedent and having to make sure that we are being equitable with all of our groups. So can we split the motion? So one where we agree to the crosswalk, and then two where we discuss whether or not we are paying for that, or we are going to look at other options and fundraise for it. Can we do that, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we can. I was just reading the way the motion currently reads, that we direct staff to install a veterans crosswalk and explanatory signage on John Street North and Ewan Street that leads to the town of Arnprior Cenotaph. So that would be the section that we would be looking at changing the wording of. We could do that the crosswalk now in operation at John Street North and Ewan Street be named in memory of veterans of Arnprior and surrounding community, with appropriate signage approved by Public Works or Operations. And then if we wanted to split it, we could split another motion to say that the town maintain this crosswalk with the appropriate painting of red and white lines. So if we're looking at splitting it, to change the paragraph 3 to just say that the crosswalk now in operation be named in memory of veterans, and further, it would be looking to you to further, what are you looking for the wording to be changed to?
I would just like the financing of that to be a separate piece.
Separate piece, yep, okay. So we can amend the resolution to just go with changing paragraph 3 to this first one, that the crosswalk now in operation at John Street North and Ewan Street be named in memory of veterans of Arnprior and surrounding community, with appropriate signage approved by Public Works.
I would deal with just the signage part, and then the second part could deal with the crosswalk painting, and we could
Yeah, we could do a separate motion.
put a condition on it. So the wording was that the town maintain the crosswalk with the appropriate painting of red and white lines, subject to funding, you know, public funds or private funds being donated to accomplish that, or something.
No,
to that
I don't feel right changing, and I don't think I've got, give me a second. I can't change his motion. I would just like them separate, and then I'd like a recorded vote on the second piece as well, please.
Okay, so the first part would be that we amend the resolution the first resolution brought forward by County Councillor Lynch by amending paragraph 3 to read that the crosswalk now in operation at John Street North and Ewan Street be named in memory of veterans of Arnprior and surrounding communities with appropriate signage approved by Public Works. And I would need a mover and seconder for that amendment.
County Councillor Lynch and Councillor Burnett.
Okay, and then all in
And all in
favor of that
favor
one?
of the amendment.
A recorded vote
Sure.
for that one you'd like? Okay. A recorded vote, so Councillor Burnett.
Yes.
All right, Councillor Cooper,
Yes.
County Councillor Lynch,
Yes.
Councillor Strike,
Yes,
Councillor Toner,
Yes.
and Mayor McGee.
Yes,
Perfect. And then would you like the second motion now?
please.
That the town of Arnprior maintain this crosswalk with the appropriate painting of red and white lines, subject to, of, just the period?
That was our second part, that the town maintain this crosswalk with the appropriate painting of red.
Microphone.
That the town maintain this crosswalk with the appropriate painting of red and white lines.
Yes,
Okay, so we'll
So
need,
you mean maintain and install?
yes.
okay, maintain and install this
Well,
crosswalk.
The crosswalk is already in place. It's just a matter of putting the red paint on, so it's maintaining it as a red and white lines.
If I may, we will make some modifications, but we intend to do that regardless of this discussion, just to bring it up to a current standard for a PXO crosswalk. So it will change slightly, but not significantly.
Thank you.
With the red and white, or like the intention is the white, correct?
Yes, our intention as staff, we already have intentions to upgrade it with white, but more of like a wider white piano key than what you saw in that photo earlier. And then some advanced warning triangle shark teeth, as we call them. So that'll all be done regardless of this discussion.
So then we would be installing the red in addition to, we would still be installing, okay, I just want to make sure
Correct.
that we're clear on that. Okay.
So that the town maintain and install this crosswalk with the appropriate painting of red and white lines. So we'd need a mover and seconder for that.
And that would be with public funds, that is what this is for, okay.
So a mover and a seconder for that one. Dan and Tom, okay. And then a recorded vote.
Please.
Councillor Burnett,
Yes.
Councillor Cooper,
No.
County Councillor Lynch,
Yes.
Councillor Strike,
yes,
Councillor Toner,
Yes.
and Mayor McGee.
No,
So that is carried.
thank you. Good discussion, thank you, John. Thank you, County Council Lynch. Okay. So, moving along to staff reports, we have the Daniel and Albert Street Reconstruction Project.
The council enact a bylaw that authorizes the following. A, that council award tender PW 2025-03 to Thomas Cavanaugh Construction Limited for a total of $6,267,310.12, including HST. And further, that council award the contract for contract administration and inspection of project PW 2025-03, understanding offer agreement to JP2G Consultants, Inc., for a total of $314,682.40, including HST. And further, that council authorize the CAO to execute the agreements and related documents with Thomas Cavanaugh Construction Limited and JP2G Consultants, Inc. to execute the works. And further, that council authorize the CAO to enter into a construction and access license and lease agreement with Renfrew County Housing Corporation to reconstruct the existing sanitary sewer across a portion of Renfrew County Housing Corporation lands located at 8 Burwash Street in the town of Arnprior. And that council authorize funding for a full construction project value of $5,927,288 with net HST, with funding from the following sources: $3,765,650 grant funding, $296,364 from Development Charge Reserve Fund, $932,637 from the Capital Expenditure Reserve Fund, $466,319 Water Reserve Fund, and $466,319 of Wastewater Reserve Fund.
Kayla, mover and a seconder, please. County Councillor Lynch, Councillor Toner.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Yeah, we're here to talk about the PW 2025-03 tender award. Some background, at the April 9th, 2024 council meeting, resolution was passed directing staff to apply for the HEWSF, or Housing Enabling Water Systems Fund, for the Daniel Street Sanitary Sewer Upsizing Project and reconstruction of Albert Street. At the time, estimated project cost was $5,350,000, and the grant eligible portion was 73%, therefore a grant value of $3,905,500. August 2024, the town received notice that the grant application was successful. At the September 9th council meeting, council directed staff to proceed with proposal 21-100P from JP2G Consultants to provide design and engineering services as well as tender documents for the project. The design was completed by August 2025 and budget was included in the 2025 capital budget for the project. The project will address current capacity constraints in the north end of Daniel Street sanitary sewer as identified in the town's water wastewater master plan. It also will add capacity to accommodate future growth projects, including more than 1,984 proposed or projected new housing units spread across several different developments and developable areas, mostly in the south end of town. So this is just a snippet from the water wastewater master plan showing they're showing an identified bottleneck in the sanitary sewer, as well as some potential other concerns further up on Albert Street, potential surcharging issues. And just a quick snippet of the project limits. It's a little tough to see on satellite view, but the project limits start at there's a manhole in front of Boyce Funeral Home, so just north of Rock Lane on Daniel Street. Crosses Madawaska Boulevard through Renfrew County Housing Corporation property to where Burwash and Albert Street intersect, and then follows Albert Street all the way past our wastewater plant up to Ewan Street, and we included Ewan Street in the design for the road reconstruction also. On August 8th, 2025, staff published tender PW 2025-03 on mercs.com with a closing date of September 10th, 2025. Question deadline of September 5th, 2025. Upon closing, we received results from, or submissions from 4 different firms. The low bid coming from Thomas Cavanaugh Construction Limited with a bid price including full HST and contingency of $6,267,310.12. Upon evaluating the tender submissions, there were no math errors or omissions or discrepancies in any of the tender submissions. Staff also received a proposal from JP2G Consultants Inc. for full-time site inspection and contract administration services under a standing offer agreement for $314,682.14, including HST. As previously noted, approximately 70 meters of the sanitary sewer, the existing sanitary sewer that will be replaced as part of this project, is located on property owned by Renfrew County Housing Corporation at 8 Burwash Street. Currently, there is no existing easement, but staff have consulted with Renfrew County Housing Corporation staff and recently entered into an MOU to permit the town to temporary permission to access and carry out the construction, until such time as a formal easement is finalized, approved, and registered. Looking at the project financially, Daniel Street Sanitary Sewer project is subject to HEWSF grant funding. The grant will cover 73% of the eligible expenses up to a maximum limit of $3,905,500, which was the original grant amount. Design for this project was already funded out of the 2024-2025 budget and was funded by the grant at 73%, committing $139,850 of the grant funding, leaving a remaining available grant of $3,765,650. So when we account for net HST, Kavanaugh's bid of just over 5.6 million plus JP2G, and factor in the 2025 budget, or factor our 2025 budget of $5.4 million, we have a deficit of $527,288.13. Total construction budget for the project, like I said, is $5.4 million, with $100,000 already committed in the 2025 budget. 5.3 million was previously committed for the 2026 budget. With the award of this project, the full construction value of $5,927,288 will need to be funded. With the project ready to commence, portions of the project will commence in 2025, and the majority of the work will be completed in 2026. The $527,000 budget may be attributed to a few factors, such as project complexity, soil conditions, including some anticipated contaminated soils, and the need for a large volume of bypass pumping. Based on the projected funding sources, staff are recommending that the $527,288 deficit be funded as follows in the attached table. So when you factor everything all together, we're recommending that the deficit be funded with $26,364 coming from DCs, another $250,000 coming from capital expenditure reserve fund, and $125,231 coming from water reserve fund, as well as wastewater reserve fund, respectively, to make up that $527,288.
It's not nearly as exciting to hear this as when we come in under, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Comments, discussion? Councillor Cooper?
Thank you, Mayor Ricky. I just have a question about, I'm just looking at the numbers, and the tender came in at 6.2 million for Thomas Kavanaugh on part 1 of the report, but then part 2 says 5.6, and JP2G was 314,682, and then on the next page it says 283. Am I?
That's the
Oh,
net
plus
HST rebate.
Excellent. Okay. Taxes always get you. They always get you. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Toner and then Councillor Lynch.
Thank you. So I have a couple questions. One is just, you mentioned the increased capacity that we're looking to accommodate. I'm just wondering where in town is that increased capacity going to come from?
So the need for the, I'm assuming you mean the need for the additional
Yes,
capacity, what's
sorry.
causing that? Some of it is an existing condition where we've already identified that we're at a risk of not having enough capacity in one section of that pipe, which contributed to the to flooding in the past. But the additional need, it comes from several different developments. There's proposed development on Baskin Drive, kind of behind Home Hardware, as well as the old driving range, another piece of property on Van Dusen, the remainder of Campbell Farms subdivision also. Those are the major locations where the unit count is coming from.
Okay, and then that all comes down, is the main line, does it come down Daniel Street or does it come down Russell and Rock Lane, like where?
Yeah, it comes down Daniel Street.
Okay, and that's where the bottleneck is?
Yep.
Okay. And also too, I know you mentioned it, you touched on it there. I didn't see a contingency, but you mentioned that there is a 5% contingency that's kind of like included into this.
Mm-hmm.
So is that, I mean, usually the contingency fees are if there is a need, but in this case, is that how the contingency works here? Like, could we expect a smaller amount to be paid to Thomas Kavanaugh, or was that built in, and this is what they're getting no matter what?
So the way the contingency is structured, it's there for if we need it. It's not guaranteed to them. It was just the way that the tender was written, that it's just factored into the way the bids came in.
Okay.
Same way that we bake in tax on the final number when we open them and read them, but it's not part of what they're guaranteed to receive. So it's there if we need it. Anytime we're digging holes in the ground, you don't know what you're necessarily going to find, so it's there as a little bit of a buffer. Yeah.
Okay, and I know I mean, you had mentioned that it was 5%. I know in other projects, we've gone as high as like 15%, and with this being a complex project, I'm sure you both feel confident that the 5% would be suitable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The other one I had, yes. The traffic management, I'm sure, yeah, it's been discussed, and like who is responsible for the traffic management plan? Because that is like a major artery, or or Madawaska and Daniel Street. So has there been any preliminary discussions, and who's responsible for taking care of that?
So the contractor is responsible for assembling and submitting the traffic control plan. And providing any traffic management. We, as the owner, as well as our consultants, will review the plan that's submitted prior to it being approved for implementation. We'll also circulate to the county, given that it's a county road. In the tender, we were clear to point out that this is an EDR route also for Highway 417. So there are some certain stipulations that come with that as far as maintaining a proper detour around our work area, that kind of thing, and anticipated traffic volumes. So ultimately, they submit it, the contractor submits it, we review it, and it doesn't get implemented until we give it the green light.
Okay, but I mean, so they were like aware, obviously, and I mean, that cost is probably built in. Yeah, okay, perfect. Well, thanks for answering those questions. Thanks.
County Councilor Lynch?
Thank you, Mayor McGee. A couple of questions. Again, to where Chris was going with the 5%, with this ugly word tariff, with the different cost of things going up in the way of piping and whatnot, my concern was the 5% wasn't enough, but you're confident it is, so we'll pass on that one. The second one was County Road, Daniel Street. It was just finished paving and now we're gonna rip it up to put the piping in?
Nope, we coordinated with the county and they stopped their job short of where we're starting, and as part of this project we will resurface to their standard the entirety of Daniel Street, so that way all of Daniel Street has a fresh surface on it.
But that'll be a county cost, correct? We rejuvenated County Road 2, so in my opinion the county should pay for that portion that once you've done the plumbing, we'll call.
Yeah, a certain portion of it, a large portion of it is going to have to be disturbed as a result of our work anyway. Currently, we haven't necessarily had that discussion with the county as to whether they're contributing, but the amount of area that we're going to have to disturb to A, remove the old main, and B, put the new one in, they're not in exactly the same alignment. The majority of the road surface will be disturbed anyway, so the split is primarily on the town's portion anyway.
To expand on that momentarily, is the county budgeted to go from State Court to Madawaska to do that all, and obviously we didn't do it all, so we must have a reserve at county to cover some of that off. So I'm suggesting that we make a liaison to get some of that money back. Maybe that'll cover off some of the $500,000 we're short. And the last question is, can we apply for other grants even though we got the first one, or was that a stipulation that you can't apply for any other grants?
I'll jump in on that one. A lot of times there's a stipulation that doesn't let you double dip or apply two grants on the same. Some grants do allow it, but it just depends what's coming out in the near future. So there's nothing really open right now that would be applicable, but we'll keep our eyes open anyway.
Thank you.
Sorry, I did have one more question. I see it there now. Like part of the funding is coming from the Water Reserve Fund. So I know in your presentation, and it was, all that was talked about was the sewer upsizing. Will there be new water pipes or like an increase in capacity in the water pipes? That wasn't mentioned.
Yeah, so the scope for the reconstruction of Albert Street and Ewan Street includes full reconstruction of the road, separation of the sanitary sewer, so we'll have new storm sewer, new sanitary sewer, and new water main, all on that, on all of Albert as well as Ewan Street.
Councillor Strike?
Thank you. You'd mentioned Ewan Street as part of this particular project. Will you be connecting that to John?
Currently, I believe the water main is connected based on the drawings from the early 2000s when John Street was reconstructed, so we will be tying on to what's already connected there. The sanitary sewer, I don't believe we're changing the configuration to accept any flow from John Street necessarily. It'll remain built the way that it always has
Do
been.
you feel there's enough capacity on John for a future subdivision?
It's a good question.
Capacity of sewer or?
Sanitary.
At this point, we don't have a lot of information from the anticipated development that's
Yeah, I know.
potentially going to proceed in that area. So once we have some better data from that group as far as their demands, then we'll be able to assess it. But that being said, within our water wastewater master plan, there wasn't anything flagged for as far as capacity constraints up in that top end, and there's only so much property that can be developed up there, so we don't anticipate it.
Thank you.
Just to add in on top of that too, in the water wastewater master plan, it was identified as a potentially developable area, so it was factored into the modeling that was done in the master plan.
Councillor Cooper?
Thank you. I just wanted to say, this is, I think, a great project to look at. When people say, why aren't you doing this road? Like Albert Street is probably one of our most rugged roads here in town. And I've heard nothing but that the last couple of years. And especially we have all the traffic that goes to the church and everyone says, why aren't you doing this road? And this is one of those streets, one of those roads that we could have torn up, we could have repaved, and then we would have been looking at this project coming literally down the pipe years later. So I just, for anyone watching to know, we are very keenly aware and we plan for this to make sure tax dollars are being used, because we could have paved it, tore it up, run these sewer lines, then rerun the road at extreme expense. So sometimes you see roads that aren't in great condition. Staff are very aware of that, and there might be more to the story. So I encourage people to reach out with a concern instead of just complaining about a road not being bad, because there might be more to the story than you see.
Any other comment? No? Thank you. There's a lot of work in this. I do have one question. You mentioned one of the reasons for the overage was potentially contaminated soil. Is that something that's just been identified, or was that a part of the RFP? Was I including that, and it's sort of an unknown as part of them moving forward? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it was something we had some knowledge of prior to design, but not an extensive. We didn't know what the extent is. As part of the design, we did do soil sampling, did do boreholes to get an idea as to what we're dealing with for subsurface conditions, and found that there's some areas that do show elevated levels of different contaminants in a couple different areas that we will need to more thoroughly sample as it's being excavated to determine how it can be handled. But yeah, we had a bit of an idea, but not the extent, not to this extent. We hadn't had the opportunity to explore much further other than when we installed the storm sewer outlet as part of the downtown revitalization in 2016. So we had a little bit of data, but not much.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor of the recommendation? None are opposed? Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next up we've got the Chats Lake Yacht Club lease.
The council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute the lease agreement with the Shaw Lake Community Boat Club for the use of a portion of Bell Park for a 2-year term, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2027, for the purpose of a community boat club as a clubhouse and for docking and related activities, including youth programming.
Kayla, mover and a seconder for that, please. Counselor Cooper, Counselor Burnett. Grant?
Evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight wanted to go over a lease renewal for the use of the Shaw Lake Boat Club within Bell Park. So just a bit of background on it. So in 1961, the town did receive a bequest of land from the Morris family, which is now known as Bell Park. And following the transfer of the lands in 1971, the Shaw Lake Yacht Club entered into an agreement with the town for the use of a portion of Bell Park for use as a clubhouse and docking, and it's been used in that same fashion since 1971. The Shaw Lake Community Boat Club has been a leasee of the portion of those lands since 2015. Council has been extending the term of the 2010 lease agreement through a memorandum of understanding, which expired in March 31st of 2022. In August of that same year, the clerk did bring a report forward to council recommending a new lease agreement, which was for a 3-year term, which was passed in August of that year. So bringing this one forward because that 3-year lease that was put together in 2022 has since expired over the past summer, and wanting to consider the extension of that. This land makes up 4.9 hectares of town parkland, 700 meters of shoreline, which contains the section of the south shore of the park, which is leased to the Shaw Lake Boat Club. This park was extensively reviewed as part of the 2021 Waterfront Master Plan, and looking at things that we could do within Bell Park, and a lot of that Waterfront Master Plan focused on what we could do in the north side of the park to engage with the public, and looking at how the town could work with the Shaw Lake Community Boat Club to establish a long-term lease at Bell Park. The evolution of Bell Park is compatible with the presence of the club. And there may be opportunities for the town to partner with the club for other such programming, such as sailing and other such waterfront activities. Again, this was all things that were outlined in our waterfront master plan. Also noting that if they hadn't renewed their lease, that's something that the town could look at engaging in those lands as something that is run by the town of Arnprior. So taking that kind of note, that's something that was kind of captured in the recent Recreation and Parks Master Plan that was completed last year, stating that in addition to exploring the recommendations outlined in the Waterfront Master Plan, Bell Park should be managed in full by the town of Arnprior to ensure delivery of youth programming offered in this park space. Furthermore, it would allow the town to expand its own marina service operations to Bell Park, presenting more immediate opportunity to offer access to improved amenities such as washrooms and potable water, something that we've long heard that we're deficient at in our current municipal marina operations. So I did meet with representatives of the Shaw Lake Community Boat Club to discuss the expiration and renewal of this lease. They remain interested in renewing this lease. During this meeting, it was indicated, I inquired about their operations and reviewed the recommendations that were outlined in both of these master plans where Bell Park was concerned, as well as discussions around the feasibility of the operations of our municipal marina. Just again, knowing that we are at capacity in the different service needs and that have been expressed for operations of our marina. So just making sure that understanding that they knew what some considerations might be for the future of this space. They remain interested and committed to operating out of this space. Much like our marina, they too are at capacity in their space, and kind of maintain the operation of the existing boat club building that they do have on site. Though admittedly, it is something that is getting rather dated and isn't used to the degree that it once was once was in the past. So from that discussion, it was highlighted that we would look at a 2-year rental term, commencing, backdating it to the 1st of July of this year through to the 30th of June of 2027. And similar to past agreements, it would cover the current year's property taxes as their payment, in addition to a $1,000 payment if they are not completing any programming for the benefit of youth in the community. That is not something that has been completed throughout the terms of this agreement, though that was something that was only recently added in the 2022 renewal of this agreement, in terms of there being any remuneration back to the town for the lack of these programs offerings. So the notion of kind of having 2 years was just knowing that we don't have any particular plan in place at this time, but there's lots of kind of moving parts in terms of budget, waterfront master plan, marina feasibility, and so on. So at least allows them to kind of continue the operation that they've been accustomed to over the last number of years, but still allows us to continue with the planning that we'd like to see for Bell Park. So saying that, happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Graham. Any questions or comments from Councillor Toner?
Thank you for this. The more I think about this, I mean, the land was given back in 1961. That's 64 years from today. And, the Shaw Yacht Club at the time in 1971, kind of took not like they didn't take ownership, but they took use of that land. Like 70s was a long time ago, and that's a prime part of the town, and that it's kind of exclusively been theirs. And I know people that have boats there. They're wonderful people. I'm not saying that it's any fault of their own. I mean, back in 71 there was an opportunity. They took it. And those that are lucky enough to have a boat there and still have one there, I mean, good for them. But my point is, like nearly 65 years ago, the Morris family, bequeathed this piece of land to the town to be turned into a park for youth-oriented activities. And the only thing that has been done really has been a yacht club. And at one time there was a fish and game club, and those are kind of there was the fish and game club had like some youth-oriented activities. I took my gun license and a fishing license there. Other than that, there's been nothing. So I think it's about time. 64 years is like a long time. So I really look forward to implementing what the master plan has had to say, and maybe start like kind of implementing some youth-oriented activities, which is what this area of land was supposed to be used for. So, and the $1,000, I mean, I know they pay the taxes, and I believe a $1 lease agreement for 1 year. Is that not correct? One year. So, but really it's like $1,001 because I don't think they have the capacity to offer any youth-oriented activities, but it's a real good bargain for that piece of land to, $1,000 a year. I think it's going to be an interesting discussion a couple years from now. I mean, when we get more details on the master plan and on what could happen there. So I'm in favor of going forward for the next 2 years, but I really want to explore, next council will have to explore what's going to happen in a couple years, because 64 years is a long time for nothing to happen. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Toner. Any other comments?
If I may.
Of course.
So just a couple things on that. When the previous lease was put together, we did have discussions with them about what they'd be looking to, what we'd be looking for them to offer in terms of youth programming in there. So they had, investigated into how they could, do a youth sailing program or even event just to try and get something going. It was cost prohibitive from kind of their investigation into doing something like that. I will say from a town perspective, we have definitely seen a downturn in the number of youth participants in our dragon boating program, in the kayaking program that we kind of started during COVID when we received funding from Canadian Tire Jumpstart to kind of get that off the ground. So we have seen that started to decline at the youth level, and that's something that we have been using the funding from the Shaw Lake Community Boat Club that we get through this lease. So it's been going back into the lending hub or to kind of offset any of the operational costs of our dragon boating program. We are seeing a lot more people, utilize the waterfront in terms, even with the recent agreement for use of the space by a third party down at McLean Beach. So we're seeing that start to come back. We'll continue to kind of push that relationship forward. Not sure kind of what the difference is there from kind of the youth to, I'll say, the adult population, because we're certainly seeing a lot more people out in kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, and the like. But definitely something we'll kind of continue to look into. I think the other thing we have to be mindful of, no different than what we wanted to do when we started, encouraging people to use McLean Beach to get into the water with their kayak or SUP or anything of that nature. We avoided our marina. We avoided kind of the beach of Robert Simpson Park just because of safe entry into the water for an inexperienced boater, and I think that's something that they had concern with as well. All something that we hope kind of comes together between the future of the waterfront master plan at McLean, at Bell Park, as well as what we're working on in the more closer years down at Robert Simpson.
Councillor Toner, or Cooper?
Thank you. I agree with Councillor Toner's sentiment that this land was left to benefit youth. And ideally, I'd love to see it return to that. I don't think we can end this agreement right now and then expect all the people there to find somewhere else to magically go. And I don't think we have a use for the land right now, but I hope next council's appetite is focused on, as you say, expanding the programming and doing what we can to make it honor what the Morris family wanted. That's what they left the land there for, and I really think that we should be working to make that land available to youth or to families or something else. So I agree with Councillor Toner.
Councillor Burnett?
It's certainly a valuable piece of land. My only concern is mention the youth, and we promote the youth for sure, but we open that up that the town does something in that area. It's a very, very dangerous area at that mouth, and I would hate to see more kids down there possibly lose their lives by going into that water. It's happened in the past. We've got fence over on the Robert Simpson Park side, and they still get out around that corner and everything like that. So if we have two areas that we're promoting, I don't really think that's good for the town.
Councillor Toner?
Yeah, and I just wanted to clarify, when I was talking about youth-oriented activities or something, I mean, I wasn't meaning something to do with the water. I mean, it's a large parcel of land, something can be done like in a safe area far from the water. Much like the master plan had a couple little lookouts and some type of idea. So, yeah, I wasn't meaning that we had to do something on the water, because it is a dangerous part, but something could be done in a safe part of the park.
County Councillor Lynch?
Thank you, Mayor. Could we define programming? The reason I say this, I think it was 2 years ago, the yacht club provided youth and anyone else that wanted to go on the yachts to go down and physically climb on the yacht, get in it, see what it was like, and then went out into the river, and then you came back. and there was, I won't say a lot of kids, but there was kids there along with their adults to get the free ride and see what a yacht actually was. Would that be considered like a program, or is that more of a promoting?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think we would probably want to see something that is beyond a one-time experience, and something that, you know, gives an opportunity for the youth to be engaged on I'll say a seasonal basis, because it's realistically what could be achieved down there, though there's still, to Councillor Toner's point, it doesn't have to be you know, in water or on water activity. There's kind of the nature space there, similar to many things that the Fish and Game Club you know, may have offered, you know, in the past down in that space. So it's something that we could consider including into this particular lease, or something that we can kind of consider going forward in terms of how we define youth programming. When I think of a program, I don't think of a one-off activity. I think of a multi-week or multi-period type program. And in fairness, we haven't even defined in terms of you know, its engagement with youth. Is it free programming? Is it accessible programming? We've never really had terms and conditions around, you know, what that is, in fairness to the boat club as well. So.
Thank you.
Okay. So all in favor of the report? None are opposed. Thank you, Graham.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up we have our proclamation for National Day of Truth and Reconciliation.
The council proclaims September 30th, 2025 as the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in the town of Arnprior.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Toner, and Kayla. Caitlin or Kayla? Okay.
Take the motion for Caitlin. Whereas each year, September 30th marks the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, an opportunity to honor residential school survivors, their families, and communities, and ensure that public commemoration of the history and legacy of residential schools remains a vital component of the reconciliation process. And whereas this day builds on Orange Shirt Day, an Indigenous-led grassroots commemorative day intended to raise awareness of the individual, family, and community intergenerational impacts of residential schools, and to promote the clarion call that every child matters. The orange shirt is a symbol of the stripping away of culture, freedom, and self-esteem experienced by Indigenous children over generations. And whereas council members and staff will be participating in a blanket exercise to foster a better understanding of the relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people through historical narrative. And whereas the town of Arnprior is humbly engaged in a learning path through building relationships with local Indigenous nations and organizations in order to better understand the history of Indigenous settler relationships, the enduring impacts of colonization, and how we can best serve Indigenous community members while working together on the path of reconciliation and decolonization. And whereas community members are invited to join us on our learning path to share in the understanding of generations impacted by residential schools, and whereas a flag raising ceremony will be held on Tuesday, September 30th, 2025 to raise awareness for the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Now, therefore, the town of Arnprior does hereby recognize September 30th, 2025 as the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, Orange Shirt Day, in the town of Arnprior. Encourage all members of council, staff, and residents to wear orange as a sign of respect and to honor the thousands of survivors of residential schools.
Thank you, Kayla. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Committee reports. Okay. So since last council, just yesterday, I had the privilege, as County Councillor Lynch was saying, it's Veterans Week, and yesterday was our Veterans Dinner, which took place at the Legion. I brought greetings from council. It was an absolutely great meal. The guest speaker was a veteran who'd participated in the Invictus Games, and it was enlightening. It was terrific. She had a real comedy streak. I won't share all of the details. She was a firecracker, that's for sure. It was well done. Last week, our planner Alex and I met with Dr. Vaughn Glover. Dr. Glover wanted to discuss healthcare issues and concerns that he's part of a concerned citizens group. It was just an introductory meeting. They are collaborating to bring some suggestions forward on healthcare, hospitals, seniors care. So it was a good introductory meeting. Of course, since last council, we raised the Terry Fox flag, and I brought greetings from council at the Terry Fox Day event, which was also attended by Councillor Cooper. It was great to have him there. Great day, beautiful weather, and participation. Last week, Seniors Active Living Center, the SALC had their session, which had lots of, sorry, I did not do that. Great vendors, lots of informative sessions, so that was a pleasure. MPP Deno was there, as was the CEO for the hospital, of course, Jeremy Stevenson. And then at the end of last week, I had a meeting with Carmen Gould, who's the Regional Development Coordinator with the province, and one of our residents, Monica Tracy, who's the owner of the Arnprior School of Dance. And it was just an introductory discussion regarding a potential pilot initiative within the education system as a collaboration between the province, the town, the education system. So there's more to follow on that. It was a good meeting, and the idea is to basically bring parity for those who are part of dance programs and align those to those who are part of different arts programs such as music and things like that, because right now there's recognition for music programs that is not transferred to those who are in dance programs. So it's just sort of getting a pilot going, recognition there. So that's it for my report. I'll hand it over now to County Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Mayor. At our county report, our delegation's last meeting was Anya Gansner, Artistic Director with Ottawa Valley Community Arts, and then we had Emily Stovall, Manager of Culture and Curator of the Arnprior District Museum. Their topic was Art Gallery of the Ottawa Valley Projects, and it expanded on what Councillor Cooper had when he came back from AMO with the $1 equals $25. In the resolutions that were carried, a memorandum of understanding with the Arnprior Regional Health regarding the utilization of a portion of the surplus building, the Old Grove, located at 275 Ida Street North, Arnprior, Ontario, for seniors' transitional housing initiatives, campus of care, and or other related collaborative projects. So that's good news for the Grove. A member of understanding with the town of Renfrew regarding the development project at Bonisher Manor for the development of up to 40 potentially modular homes. The approval to hire Dillon Consulting Ontario for the engineering services for the rehabilitation replacement study on the Algonquin Trail structure AT032, which is Bissett Creek at Highway 17. That's a $3 million project in order to get to Mattawa. The 2026 budget guidelines to increase the capital levy contributions by $3 million over the 2025 budget. All revenue associated with the weighted CVA growth for the 2026 year to be contributed to the growth reserve, and departmental net operating budgets increased by no more than 3% over the 2025 budget. A resolution that was deferred to 2026, so it won't take effect until at least 2030, that the Council of the Corporation of the County of Renfrew direct staff to prepare a bylaw directing and bringing into effect that the warden is elected directly to the office of warden by ballot in all 17 municipalities making up the County of Renfrew for the 2026-2030 terms of office. Again, that didn't pass. It got deferred, and we'll look at that in 26, so we won't get there for the next election. Taste of the Valley, Saturday, October 18th in Cobden Fairgrounds. Saturday, December 13th is the Pembroke Knights of Columbus. On Friday, September the 12th, Councillor Strike and I attended a very interesting county agricultural tour, which included visiting a dairy farm, beef growing operation, beehives, how corn is dried, and a presentation by a couple of young 4-H lads with their sheep. Then they're going off to provincial, and our last stop was at the Mapleside Sugar Bush, which was 2 hours plus. Ben would not let us leave. This Wednesday at the county building in Pembroke, we will be hosting the open house from 3 to 7, an opportunity to see what services you as taxpayers are paying for. And I'm looking at the CEO that Dan will be there. representing the town with our, we're not going to bring that? That's a no? Dan will be there representing the town, not sure with what. As well, I participated in the Terry Fox. I was a little earlier than the rest of the crew. And last Saturday, I attended the maritime fundraising for the new piece of equipment at the hospital. What I do remember is someone paid $2,700 for a polar bear, glass polar bear of some sort, that came from the north, and it was not me, and it wasn't the town. Thank you.
All right, thanks, County Councillor Lynch. Committee reports and minutes. Before we, did anyone want to, okay. Councillor Cooper?
Perfect, thank you. I just have,
Oh, hang on one second.
absolutely.
Want to receive them as information first, or did you want to go
Sure, we
through
can
them?
do that first, and then we can speak to those who are,
Okay.
sure.
The council received the advisory committee minutes listed under item 13CI through VI as information.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Strike, Councillor Burnett, all in favor? Great, thank you. And anyone who's had committee meetings? Councillor Cooper?
Perfect, thank you. I just wanted to speak about the Culture and Diversity Advisory Committee meeting. The minutes in here are before the break, as are most of these. I just wanted to reemphasize that the Culture and Diversity Committee is currently working on an updated land acknowledgement statement. It's still in a draft form. We're still very much speaking about it. It's coming back our next meeting. We had a initial consultation workshop with a consulting group with a facilitator, Christine Luskovich, and she kind of walked us through the process. We've gotten the results of that, and now we're digesting that. So next CDAC meeting, we are going to be talking more to be moving towards having a draft land acknowledgement statement that's a little more updated. So that's for culture and diversity. I did want to also mention for the library, there's a couple of items that we discussed during our last library meeting. We are working on our strategic plan. It's now in the draft form. It's very, very well put together. We've taken some notes from the facilitator, and we're looking at putting together the most dynamic strat priorities and goals that we want to move forward with. So that we are going to be having a special meeting on October 29th to discuss the strat plan summary. There was also, as you'll see in here, the library joint use agreement, or joint use committee met a number of times. The details are in there. The library board did want to recognize a number of people that were instrumental in bringing that library agreement forward. I'm just going to make sure I have my whole list of everyone that was involved with that. We had committee members, Arnprior Mayor Lisa McGee, McNabb Braeside Councillor Jill Campbell, Library Board Chair Josie Scott, Library Board Member from McNabb Braeside Shane Kramer. We had a number of staff members that were present as well. Robin Paquette, our CAO, was our recording secretary on that. Huge thanks to Jennifer Marwick. She provided an incredible amount of data, and with a agreement like this, the devil is in the details with it. I know Jennifer was given a number of scenarios that she came in with, and then was asked to provide more scenarios, which she graciously did. Getting this agreement moved forward, I credit Jennifer for providing that data that everyone asked for. It is instrumental for an agreement like this, and as we saw with McNabb Brayside's meeting recently, they praised all the data in the presentation of it. That held everything together, so thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Karen DeLuca was also there, Chief Librarian, and thank you to Angela Young, the Deputy Clerk from McNabb Braeside, for helping out with the joint library agreement, which is fantastic. Some other quick notes on the library agenda. We also had a very, very interesting presentation with authors John Ibbotson, Andrew Coyne, both political reporters. It was a huge success. There was over 200 people, there was 200 people in attendance, not over because we're not allowed to go over by the fire alarm. So we were standing right at the front door. We made sure it was exactly 200 or less in attendance. Karen said she got over 16 emails immediately with a number of calls, thanks and appreciation for how much people enjoyed it. And the number one thing people kept asking is, when are we going to see another one? So there is, tentatively, John Ibbotson may be coming back. He has a new book coming out in October.
We had White Pine Books on site doing books. They are going to be doing pre-orders for his book. So if you're interested in picking that up, and he does come back, he will sign your book for free. The book won't be free, but he'll sign it for free. We are also looking at collaborating with Renfrew and Calabogie libraries to create a short film festival. It's a very, very cool idea, still in the infancy. It's going to be partnered with these other libraries, but to have locals produce films. Now, Kevin Marshall at the O'Brien Theatre has agreed to also show the films, which could be a nice cultural night for everyone to get out there and see the films on the big screen. So watch for more information from that. Karen also announced that we are working on another author visit, Peggy Blair from Ottawa. Now, she has a teen book club, so I haven't read any of the books, but apparently she is a teen author. Carolyn Swayze has recommended her, and we're looking at getting them in there. Our teen book club will receive, each of them will get a copy of this author's books, and it'll look really good. Sorry, the author's name is Carolyn Pigeonneau, and Peggy Blair is another author that's coming in, so 2 author visits. We have great news about the Summer Reading Club. There was 337 children that signed up for the Summer Reading Club. And to show you the impact that those 337 children had, 12,000 books were signed out as part of the Summer Reading Program. That's a lot of books for kids. It also translates into a lot of money for our downtown businesses. The library program spent over $1,400 in local businesses to give coupons out for the children. So as they read the books, or said they read the books, and they absolutely read the books, as they read the books, they would earn tokens that they could trade in for coupons. And those coupons included Mallard's Milk Bar and a couple different businesses downtown. So the economic return is great. So all in, by the end of July, I think she said there was 10,000 just children's books that were signed out. One big thing that's coming down the pipe, and it really affects rural communities like ours, is interlibrary loans. And I'm sure many of us remember not having a book that we wanted at the library and sending it out for an interlibrary loan. Another library would graciously send it our way. Canada Post has changed how they pay and how they charge for shipping these books. In short, we can't use stamps anymore. We have to use credit cards. And the billing for it, none of the payments add up and they do not reconcile. And I'm looking at Jennifer, that's not a good thing at all. So Karen said essentially what happens, a lot of libraries aren't doing interlibrary loans anymore. The big ones just say it's not even worth it, and they just shut down. So one thing that we discussed is a resolution that we could bring before councils to support returning to the old program or really beefing up interlibrary loans. For a small community like ours, we have a very robust library. Some libraries do not have the collection that we have, and that means academic books, things that are very expensive that those libraries would not carry, would just no longer get into the hands of people. So it's pretty sad. 2 other items, new business, we are looking at a new logo and new branding for the library. And there's also a grief and dying speaker that's going to be coming. Now, I have to credit Daryl O'Shaughnessy for helping to spearhead this. Daryl has taken it upon himself to help do the fundraising for this. And we're going to be looking to community partners such as Hospice, Hospice Renfrew, the hospital, different organizations that would come together with this. Daryl said that this presentation helped him immensely after the loss of his wife, and we really look forward to bringing that into a nice calming space where people can learn more about grief and dying and helping other people. So ends my report for the Arnprior Public Library.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cooper. Have we had any other committee meetings that anybody wants to? Nope. Okay. Correspondence and petitions. We've got the information package, please.
That the correspondence package number I-25, September 16 be received as information and filed accordingly.
Thank you, Kayla. Mover and seconder, please. County Councillor Lynch, Councillor Toner. Comments? Oh, County Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Mayor. On page 8, good news for us seniors who are living at home. The Ontario government is investing $15 million over 2 years in the Community Access to Long-Term Care program that will enable people to receive long-term care services while still living in their home. On page 17, the good news for persons 65 years old. The Ontario government is launching a new screening program, the Ontario Abdominal Aortic, starts with an A, ends with an M, screening program, which will help save lives by promoting early detection and prevention of ruptures. Ontario's turning 65 will receive a letter in the mail from Ontario Health, and by the spring of 2026 will be expanded to us seniors 65 to 80. On page 29, looking to become a skilled laborer, the Ontario government is launching its annual Level Up career fairs to introduce a record number of students, educators, and job seekers in the demand careers in the skilled trades. The closest fair is in Ottawa, December 12th, so register early. On page 33, as part of the plan to protect Ontario and keep communities safe, the Mobile Crisis Response Team Enhancement Grant enables police to work with trained crisis workers when responding to those in need. The Renfrew OPP were given $236,000 out of this grant. On page 36, the Ontario government is investing over $746,000 through the Skilled Development Fund training stream to help Ontario Professional Firefighters Association deliver critical survival training to firefighters across the province. To the CEO and fire chief, deadline to apply is 1 October. Have we considered filing for this funding?
If I may, on behalf of the chief, that funding is actually not divided amongst municipalities for individual applications. Instead, the Professional Fires Association is receiving the funds to develop and deliver training curriculum across the province. The grant supports initiatives like the Fire Ground Survival Train the Trainer program, which is happening in Toronto in October, and is available to firefighters across Ontario, but not intended for municipalities like Arnprior to apply for direct allocation of those funds. The funding will also be used to purchase a tow vehicle and a training trailer, like we've had here in town before, dedicated to the Northern Fire Services to ensure remote and rural communities have access to specialized training. As such, while this grant is a great resource for training across the province, Arnprior Fire would not be able to apply for a share of directly for the funding itself.
So, thank you. Corey provided that answer to me earlier, and I talked to the chief tonight. I'm sort of disappointed in that. The National Fire Code, we have to adhere to it in the way of equipment and training and all that good stuff, and yet the professional association gets the money where we, the firemen, don't get it. That irritates me, and I don't know how it can change. I guess it's a political thing. Thank you. The last one is from the OMEC conference, a program dealing with best practices for municipal drinking water that offered to top 100K for projects starting prior to 31st of March 2026. To the CEO, are we eligible for this funding? And we brought the little flyer along.
We'll definitely look into it if you have some more information on what that program is. Thank you.
And the reason I say that, CEO, is I think of drinking water, I think of sanitary water, and I think of this project we have coming. If you can't apply for this because we already got the big one, to sort of double dip. Thank you.
Thank you, County Councillor Lynch. Any other comments from the information package? No. So all in favor of that then? Great, thank you. So we have got 3 bylaws on, we're good with all 3 being on here? Okay, please.
That the following bylaws be and are hereby passed. Bylaw 762125, Daniel and Albert Street Reconstruction Project Award. Bylaw 762225, Shaw Lake Yacht Club Lease Agreement. Bylaw 762325, Amend Library Joint Use Agreement.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Strike, all in favor? None are opposed. Thank you. So with regards to this resolution, Council, I'd like us to have a closed discussion on this before we vote on the actual resolution.
Can we defer that, Madam Mayor, till after announcements?
We can absolutely do that, yes. So, Madam Clerk, we're going to do announcements first, and then we'll move to that. Announcements?
Thank you, Mayor. One, as the chief previously said, join the Arnprior Fire Department's open house on 28 December from 10 to 1. Come out and enjoy some food and education. A reminder that the 28th of September is Test Your Smoke Alarm Day. A shout out of thanks to our recreation staff, Lucas Powers and Lily McIntyre, who organized the Arnprior Red Black football game bus trip last Saturday, which 30 people took advantage of. We have a welcome to a couple of new businesses in town. On Elgin Street, we have New Home Presentations and Center. They're at 60 Elgin. And the Gadget Dock Tech Shop at 44 Elgin Street West. And on John, we got Valley Beauty Bar at 99 John Street North, and Compassion Massage Therapy at 88 John Street North. Last week, I attended the 2025 version of the Ontario Municipal Economic Conference. A couple of highlights. And I'm glad Councillor Cooper mentioned this about movies. The municipality of North Grenville, Almont in the past has been the site for over 40 movies. 40. And here's an opportunity for Arnprior to be another site. So the moderator asked that if you've got a house, take a picture of it, turn it into the site manager in Ottawa, and then they'll put you on the list, and hopefully they'll come out and take a picture of it, or they'll come out and visit, and you'll be on the movie. I know we've had a couple in the past, and the bonus part they suggested was make a bylaw, so that they're more encompassed when they get here. They know what they can and can't do. Parking was a big one, and washrooms were the second one. An Eastern Ontario rail loop is being created for bicycle tours. This loop will include Smith Falls, Carleton Place, Almont, Arnprior, Renfrew, Calabogie, Sharpet Lake, Harrowsmith, Sydenham, Portland, and back to Smith Falls. The map is on your screen. They're already taking reservations from Europe for people to come over and do this bicycle stuff. Supposed to be big business, and we have our Arnprior station. So if you're a business in the town of Arnprior, be bicycle friendly. People are coming. The Municipal of North Grenville has recently launched an additional residence units called an ARU initiative that provides not only a grant, but also 3 pre-approved and shovel-ready ARU architectural designs that are free to use by eligible property owners. Of note, there's no house been built yet. It's still in the infancy stage, but it's all ready to go. And it's an opportunity for maybe Arnprior to take a look at what they're doing. I will be submitting a more detailed report of the sessions I attended in the coming week. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, County Councillor Lynch. Do we have any other announcements? Councillor Cooper?
Thank you. That sheet was going to go up. Remembered my microphone this time. I just want to bring to everyone's attention, I'm sure you've seen all the new businesses coming on Daniel Street. Firehouse Subs put up an ad today, so any job seekers that are looking for jobs, Firehouse Subs is now accepting applications. And I expect over the next little bit, we're probably going to see more and more applications come forth. Some of the businesses that are going in there, I lost my list, include Dollar Tree, Barbarito, Mary Brown's Chicken, Gabriel's Pizza, Starbucks, Osmos, I think, and Firehouse Subs. And Mayor McGee, under announcements, is going to announce the other one that I didn't forget. We're very excited to hear what she's going to say, because I can't read her lips. But anyhow, these businesses represent service jobs that are in our community, and I want to thank the businesses that have taken the time. We hear sometimes new businesses come into town that we don't need X, Y, Z. What we do need is investors that are engaged with our community, that are willing to put money and roots down in Arnprior, and that's fantastic. The town does not go out and curate who comes into our town. Investors that have done a business case and see the potential of our town do. So having these big names come into our town is sometimes a little bit change, a little bit scary, but it does represent confidence in the town of Arnprior, and that benefits everyone. That really drives more innovation, it drives more investment. So before you say we don't need another coffee shop, we don't need another pizza shop, there's a reason they're coming here. They've got a business case that made sense to come here, and it may not be your cup of tea, a cup of coffee as it may be at Starbucks, but they are here for the betterment of the entire town of Arnprior. So thank you to those businesses, small and large, who choose Arnprior to invest in. And now to Mayor McGee.
The missing business that you went, so nail bar, it was the Arnprior, I think it's called the Arnprior Nail Bar, Nail Salon. That's the missing piece there. Any other announcements? No? Okay, so going back to our resolution. We do need to have a closed session before we actually debate and discuss the resolution.
You would like to move into close before reading the resolution, or would you like to read the resolution and then move into closed session?
Why don't we read the resolution and then we will move into closed? Well, she's just gonna read the resolution, but we're gonna have a closed session discussion on what it is.
Okay. Whereas the proponent is proposing to construct and operate a long-term energy project located on municipal project lands as defined and with the characteristics outlined in the table in the package. Under the long-term 2 energy supply window 1, request for proposal issued by the independent electricity system operator. And capitalized terms not defined herein have the meanings ascribed to them in the LT2 RFP. And the proponent has no later than 60 days prior to the proposal submission deadline delivered a pre-engagement confirmation notice to an applicable local body administrator in respect of the municipal project lands. That includes the details outlined in the table in the motion in the package, except for the unique project ID, which should only be required as part of the pre-engagement confirmation notice if available. The unique project ID of the long-term energy project is not currently available. The legal name of the proponent being Arnprior Airport Solar LP. Name of the long-term energy project, Arnprior Airport Solar. Technology of the long-term energy project, Solar PV. And maximum potential contract capacity of the long-term energy project being 10 MWAC. The property identification number, as listed in the package, is the legal description of the municipal project lands for parcel 1, parcel 2, and parcel 3. And pursuant to the LT2 RFP, if the long-term energy project is proposed to be located in whole or in part on municipal project lands, the proposal must include municipal support confirmation, which may be in the form of a municipal resolution in support of the proposal submission. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Arnprior supports the submission of a proposal for the long-term energy project located on the municipal project lands. This resolution's sole purpose is to satisfy the mandatory requirements of Section 42C III of the LT2 RFP and may not be used for the purpose of any other form of approval in relation to the proposal or long-term energy project or for any other purpose. The proponent has undertaken or has committed to undertake Indigenous and community engagement activities in respect of the long-term energy project to the satisfaction of the municipality, and the municipal project lands does not include lands designated as a prime agricultural area in the Town of Arnprior's official plan.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
Just need a mover and seconder, Mayor McGee, if you
To
want
go
for
into
that,
closed.
and then we can go into close after I'll do
Okay.
the motion.
County Councillor Lynch is moving and Councillor Burnett is seconding. Thank you. And then we'll need a motion to go into closed.
Yes. The council move into closed session to discuss one matter pursuant to section 239(2)B and F of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, to discuss a personal matter of an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and concerning advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, airport.
Thank you, Kayla. Mover and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Burnett, all in favor? Great. Just take a minute and then we'll seconder to put my microphone back on. Okay. So mover and a seconder to move back into open. Councillor Toner, County Councillor Lynch, all in favor? Great. And so we already have the resolution in front of us. We have a mover and a seconder on that. And that's to grant the municipal support resolution, and I need an all in favor for that, please. Okay, none are opposed. Thank you. And moving along, we now have our confirmatory bylaw, please.
That bylaw 762425 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular meeting of council held on September 22nd, 2025 be and is hereby approved.
Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Burnett, all in favor. Great, thank you. And adjournment?
That this meeting of council be adjourned at 8:51 p.m.
We don't have Lynch. County Councillor Lynch, Councillor Strike, all in favor. Thank you. I'm going to send a message